they started coming out of America, going straight to Hurghada. They will miss the journey. Most of them probably will be killed because they're not Rambos. You've never been in any military, and you've never been in any combat war. You most likely you won't make it. I hate to tell you this. You put a Mike Tyson, you put a Evander Holyfield, you put these people out there, they will not make it. Why? They know fighting face to face, ball up your knuckles, fight. They will knock your head off. But this is a different war. This is a war with weapons.
Survival.
This is a survival type war. Tyson would get knocked off. He liked playing with birds. He loved pigeons. He liked playing with, he's old, and I know he still can fight. I saw him hitting that bag. But he would not make it. If you put him out there, he wouldn't make it. He's never been to military. He's never experienced warfare, guerrilla warfare. Never been in a war. He's not going to make it. What do you think you're going to do? What am I going to do? We're not going to make it. And so all these people afraid to get their hands dirty, they think they're going to make it when Yahuah comes. Utterly sadness.
I'll make you pass under the rod.
I will make you pass under the rod. Now, we've been through this, and it's amazing when you bring this out. Go ahead, read the second part.
And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
He said, I will make you pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. This is before Yahuah comes back. I have to say this over and over. We can't skip the wilderness. Going to Jordan, you skip the wilderness. You're operating backwards. Did Yasharal start out in Jordan? Is that one of the starting points that's mentioned? So my wife and I, we saw a comment a few weeks ago. Going under the rod, what does that mean? See, we have people not understanding. They act like they don't know what this means. Make you pass under the rod. How is it? How is it you forgot going under the rod? Oh, they know what rod is. Proverbs 13:24.
He who spares his rod hates his son.
He who spares his rod hates his son. That we have a saying, spare the rod, spoil the child. They know what the rod is, but when the father speak about going under the rod in the wilderness, oh, they don't want to know what that means. They want to play dumb. What does that mean, going under the rod? Duh. Are you serious? You don't know what going under the rod means? Let's go further. Psalms 23. You don't know Psalms 23? Everybody in Christianity knows Psalms 23.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
Your rod and your staff. Oh, see, I told you. See, we don't want to know what rod means in the wilderness, but we've quote all this all our lives. Your rod and your staff. Now, when we go under the rod, this rod is going to be used for us and against us. Yes, it is. Our enemies come against us. He pulls out the rod and strike them upside the head. We go against the Father in the wilderness. He gonna pull out his rod and he gonna discipline us. How is he gonna discipline us? Let me tell you. Let me explain how this works. Someone does something. The Father said, if anyone does this, he shall be stoned to death with stones. The man get caught in adultery in the wilderness, sleeping with another man's wife. He's sleeping with another man's wife, family. No one should be asking, what should be done? What should we do? We shouldn't go to the Father and pray to him when he's already told us something. So he said, that one must be stoned. Bring him before the camp and stone him with stones. So the people stone him. Guess whose rod they're stoning him with? Guess who used their rod? The Father used his rod on that wicked child. You see, we work together with him. Anyone that any of the righteous in the scripture took judgment on, that judgment came from the Father. The authority came from the Father. Moshe had no authority of himself. Aaron had no authority of himself. None of them. No one in scripture had authority of himself. We read these guys and we think they had authority of themselves. And that in itself is wicked. They had no authority unless it was given to them by the Father. And when we carry out any judgment that he told us to carry out, he's carrying it out. We're workers together with him. What is that?
What's that one?
Oh, I want to see show this rod. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
Rod. This is this rod. We should know this rod. This is the rod of correction. This is the rod of discipline. We don't know rod? Really? This is the 876:26, similar to Shabat. Yeah, Shabat. Let's see what it means. Rod, staff, branch. This is a piece of wood here. This is the part I want you to see. A stick for punishing. This is a stick for punishing. You're going to go back under the rod. When you go back under the rod, this is where we're going. This message is going to be on when we go back under this rod. No excuses. You have no excuses. And this rod will cause punishment. Right now, family, we are not under the rod. We're not under it. We are not authorized to carry out any judgment. If that's the case, you have to be cleansed to carry out his judgment. We have yet been cleansed. We have the stain of iniquity on us. We can't even properly operate. We're not even bringing offerings to the Most High. Come on. Let's just say it. We are in no position to carry out judgment, stoning anyone. But yet, we have those in certain camps. They feel they can kill someone because, what the little boy did. Little boy playing with another little boy and touched him on the butt. He saw him touch him on the butt. So he had his wives to shoot and kill the little 9-year-old, 6, very young kid, less than 10. Killed the little kid. He killed them in Babylon. Had his wife, one of his wives, to shoot the kid in the head. And they covered up what they did. You can't carry out the Father's judgment in the unjust land. You just broke the law of the land you live in. Now you need to be punished. And that's what happened to them. They got punished for that. And one of the wives, it was her son. This is the madness our people live in. And the husband, he was like the master of the house. He was the teacher of the house. He had the Bible open on the Shabbat, just like we're on the Shabbat today in the Bible. He had the Bible open. We are living in dangerous times around dangerous people. And we are not to carry out these judgments. We are not under the rod today. That's why. Did I bring out everything here? Correction. It's for your correction. It corrects Yasharal. This rod corrects Yasharal. I will make you pass under the rod. This happens in the wilderness before Yahushua comes back. We have to know and understand this. And no one should be putting their people under the rod right now. What is he going to do? Verse 38.
I'll purge the rebels from among you.
Listen, when I read this stuff, and the Most High gave me the word, son, you know what I told you. There will be rebels. There are rebels among us. There are rebels among us now. He said there are rebels among you. And here we go within the borders with rebels among us. I brought this out. I did the message years ago. And people don't believe this. Although I bring it out and show it in scripture, people do not believe this. They do not believe verse 38. That in order for him to purge rebels from among us, they must be among us. We are operating wide open. Let me open up my home. Let me get a building. Watch this. Let me get a building and open it up for all of us to come together on the Shabbats. We are wide open. The rebels will flock to us. Agents will flock to us. This is not the Father's will today. Now, the only way you know this, you've been spending hours upon hours upon hours in the scripture, in Aubrey. You spent hours and hours in the scripture. Now you understand this. These are the ones that won't be operating like this. But the ones that's not hours and hours into the scripture, they are ready to have and build communities. They are ready to group up together, have gatherings. This, the way we do our Shabbat, they're among us. They will be among us when we go into the wilderness. And there will be more rebels than the righteous. Let me say it again, because we don't understand this. There are right now, wherever you are, I don't care where you are within the borders, everyone in this group are supposed to be with us. There are more rebels around you than righteous people. That's a fact. That's why 2/3 will be cut off, and only 1/3 will be of the sons of light. Only 1/3. So when you go out and you see our people, know and understand, most of them are rebels. They will rebel against what are they doing in the wilderness? Why are rebels in the wilderness? Keep going. Let's find out why they're in the wilderness.
And those who transgress against me, I'll bring them out of the country where they dwell.
The Father says, I will bring them out of the country. Now, here we go. This makes no sense. For the people that say he's going to gather us, this makes no sense. I will bring them out of the country. Why is he bringing them out of the country? I brought this out many times. It's simple. He whistled for his people. He told everybody in Babylon to come back to where you belong. Some of these people are going to end up in the wilderness. He called for his people. Others going to follow. When we leave out from here, and there will be a large number. When Edom got in trouble, his grandson, the one I don't like, did he not quote scripture?
Yes, sir.
He quotes scripture to the T, and the Most High heard his prayer.
Said that Most High made a covenant with Abraham.
Abraham's in his seed.
And I'm of his
hair. And I'm of his hair. And he was telling the Father, you have to protect me. I need help. They're going to kill me. He knew it. The Father heard his prayer and helped him. I'm like, Father, why? Father, why? Son, you don't understand me. Son, I honor my word. Son, he knew my word, and I honored my word. At that time, his heart, he really wanted me to help him. He knew who he was, and he knew my word. I'm forced to help him.
Man, if I was Most High, I would play I'm sorry, I don't hear the prayers of the unrighteous. I would play that card.
Well, see, he's telling the Father, I want to be down with you. I want to be with you. So he's going to purge out the rebels and those who transgress with him. Are you going to bring them out of the country where they dwell? But
they shall not enter the land of Yasharal.
We have people in Jordan right now already in the land of Yasharal. You see, they going against this verse. They are already in the land of Yah, and they know.